Alrighty. So, we're back here again. Day number 2. We skipped a day. Skipped the second day. Because, it was my birthday. I had a lot of stuff to do. I tried to make some time, but I just couldn't. So, we're gonna start off day number 2 here. A new day streak. Let's see. Where we left off was lesson 37. You can see by up in the top right-hand corner. You can tell what lesson we left off on there, which is awesome, actually, the fact that they have that for us. We're going to get back right into the action here. So yesterday we were making this app, and now we're going to do background colors and stuff like that for these kind of div elements, rather. So, right where we left off. So, we can set an element's background color with the background color property. Now, this is in CSS, the background color property. For example, if you wanted an element's background color to be green, you'd put it within the style element, which is up here at the top, which is our in style. So, we want to create a class called silver background with the background color of silver. And we assign this class to our div element. Now, not 100% sure. If we even went over div elements. I mean, we must have. Oh, here's the div element right here. So, I'm just gonna... yeah, I'm just going to continue here. So, we want to make a style. We're going to make a style. And it's supposed to be called... or make a class. So, we got to start with a period. It's being called silver dash background. And we want to open the bracket. And we want to do background dash color semicolon silver or colon semicolon. Okay. And then it's closed. So now we have created the class silver dash background. So in our div element here, we want to do class equals open parentheses, silver dash background. Now we have right here in our app, silver background, where the div element is. Okay. Let's run the test. And bam, power up. On to the next one. Okay, so we want to set the ID of an element. So in addition to classes, each HTML element can also have an ID attribute. There are several benefits to using ID attributes, and you'll learn more about them once you start using jQuery. Now, ID attributes should be unique. Browsers won't enforce this, but it is a widely agreed upon best practice. So it's part of a normal best practice. That's following best practices are good because they're general. The best practices are general, so that's why they call it a best practice, because it's the best thing really to do. Now, browsers won't enforce this, but it's best practice, so please don't give more than one element the same ID attribute. Here's an example of how you give our H2 element the ID of cat photo app. So in the thing, we just put ID equals and then open quotations and close quotations cat-photo-f. So we want to give our form the element ID of cat photo form. Okay, so we want to look for our form. Here it is, form. When we give it an ID equals, whoops, that was weird. For some reason I wanted the label. ID equals open cat photo form. Bam. Okay. And boom. Done. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. It's Wayne's World, party time, excellent. Okay, sorry. Just went a little off kilter there. So now we want to use ID attribute to style an element. One cool thing about ID attributes is, like classes, you can style them using CSS. So here's an example of how you can take your element with the ID attribute of cat photo element and give it a style background color of green. Now in the style element, IDs apparently are referenced by hashtags or hashes instead of periods. So the style element, you always reference classes or periods, and IDs are hashes. So try giving our form the ID attribute of cat photo form a green background. So what we want to go ahead and do is at the top here. I don't know why I like doing the top. My general thing. So hash, we want to do cat photo element. Apparently in this little thing they're blue. That's kind of cool. So we give it the background dash color colon of green, right? That's what we want. Green semicolon. And that should do it. We want to make sure our, what do we want to do? Our style element. Oh, I'm silly. I put cat photo element. I gotta put form. There we go. Boom. There it is. Run the test. By the power of Grayskull. Nice old references. I love it. Okay, so now we want to adjust the padding of an element. As you can see here, it shows you different things. So you have a margin, which is the outside of stuff, padding, and another section of padding. So now let's put our cat photo app away for a little while and learn more about styling HTML. You may have already noticed this, but all HTML elements are essentially little rectangles. Seems that way. 3 important properties control the space that surround each HTML element: padding, margin, and border. So as you can see, we have the border, which is black of all these things. The margins, which is an area between sections, and padding, which is sections on the inside of, I guess. So an element's padding controls the amount of space between elements and its border. Okay, that's cool. Here we can see a green box and a red box that are nested within a yellow box. Note that the red box has more padding than the green box does. When you increase the green box's padding, it will increase the distance between the text padding and the border around it. We want to change the padding of our green box to match those of our red box. So we want to do that by just increasing the padding number to 20. Bam. Run the test. Dairy. Legend. Wait for it. Dairy. Legendary. Okay, now we want to adjust the margin of an element. An element's margin controls the amount of space between an element's border and surrounding elements. So here we can see that the green box and the red box are nested within the yellow box. Note that the red box has more margin than the green box, making it appear smaller. The margin is the outside element separation from the inside elements. We want to change the margin of the green box to match that of the red. Obviously, we look right here, the red box. The margin of the red box is 20 pixels, so we want to increase that to 20 pixels as well. And bam. Done. Okay, so that was nice and easy. Spool up the FTL drive. That's right. Now, we want to add a negative margin to an element. So an element's margin controls the amount of space between the element's border and surrounding elements. If we set an element's margin to a negative value, the element will grow larger. try to set the margin to a negative value like the one in the red box. So we want to change the margin of the green box to negative 15 pixels so it fills in the entire horizontal width. Okay, so let's change it to negative 20. Whoa. I'm going to do 15. There we go. We've underestimated you. Well, thank you. So, add different padding to each side of an element. So sometimes you'll want to customize an element so it has different padding on each side. CSS allows us to do padding element on all 4 sides, so top, right, bottom, and left properties. Specifically, as you can see, the word padding is kind of in the lower rightish area of the box. So we want to give the green box a padding of 40 pixels on its top and left side, but only 20 on the bottom and right. So we want to do the green box. We can kind of cheat, which you kind of want to do in coding if you ever have the chance to save a bunch of time. There you go. So since this is what we were copying it to, you just write it out. You can copy and paste it, make sure. So we want the top and left side at 20 pixels. So our top and left side at 40 pixels, which we got. And then the bottom and right side at 20, which we have. Okay, let's run the test. Boom! To infinity and beyond! Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. Let me drink a sip of this coffee. This is the best part of waking up. Apparently. I've been told, but I have yet to believe this. Best part of waking up, being Folgers in your cup, obviously. Now, we're on number 44 already. We're breezing through this. So we want to add different margins to each side of an element now. Sometimes you'll want to customize an element so it has a different margin on each of its sides. CSS also allows us to control the margins also at the top, right, bottom, and left properties. We want to give the green box a margin of 40 pixels on its top and left side. Top and left side. And the bottom and right side of 20 pixels as well. We'll just go ahead and copy this as well in our green box here. Bam. There we go. We match it, and boom! We did it! So instead of specifying an element's padding top, right, bottom, and left properties, we can specify them all in one line like this. So the order of operations in one line seems to be top, then right, then bottom, then left. Okay, that's interesting. These 4 values work like a clock. So, oh, that's why. Okay, so top, right, bottom, left. So it's clockwork. I have to go the opposite because my camera is backwards. So when I go counterclockwise, it goes clockwise for you guys. So top, right, bottom, left. So we want to use clockwise notion to give the green box class padding of 40 on the top and left side and 20 on the right. So even though we can still copy this, we'll go ahead and practice by typing it out. Padding, we want to do 40 on top and left side, so it'll be the first and last. 20, 20, and 40. There we go. And then semicolon, bam. Ludicrous speed, go! Obviously, a good old reference to Baseballs. Gotta love Mel Brooks movies, man. I would say one of my favorites is History of the World Part 1. And then maybe Men in Tights, but Spaceballs is up there too. Okay, so now we want to use the clockwise notion to specify the margin of an element. Let's try again, but with margin instead of padding. So the margin is the same way. So these 4 values work like the clock. Again, it's clockwise notion is what it's called. Or clockwise notation. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Notation. Don't be a noob. notation. So we want to give the green element box class a margin of 40 pixels on top and left, so that would be first and last. And bottom and right side of 20 pixels. So we go to the green again. For the next line, margin, colon. So we want to start with 40 pixels base, and then 20 pixels, 20 pixels, 40 pixels, semicolon. Bam. Run the test. We've got guts. Okay. So now we're going to style the HTML body element. So now let's start fresh with a CSS inheritance. Every HTML page has a body element. And basically what the body element does is that the body element of HTML is basically everything that you see. So everything on the actual page is the body element of HTML. So that's why every HTML element has a body element, or HTML page has a body element. So we can prove that by the body element existing here by giving a background color of black. So we do this in the style by body open. Wow. Suck. Space open. There we go. Background. Spell. Background dash color. And black. Jeez, I'm crow. Okay. We got that. Boom. And as you can see, everything turned black. So we can do red, white, blue. Is USA, baby. Okay, so we'll do it black. That's what it tells us to do. Bam. Don't hurt him, Hammer. Okay. So now, we want to do inherit styles from the body element. So now we've proven that the HTML page, every HTML page has a body, and that its body can also be styled with CSS. So we remember we can only style our body element just like any other HTML element, and all other elements will inherit the body element's style. So first, we'd create an H1 element with the text "Hello World." So H1 hello world. Okay, and close the H1. As you can see, that's basically black. It's kind of gray, I guess. So now let's give all elements on our page the color of green by adding color green to our body element style. So we put color colon green. Bam. Semicolon. Oop. There we go. Okay, so everything in the body will be the color of green. That's not the background color. So finally, we want to give our body element the font family of monospace, adding font family monospace, just like normal. So font dash family colon monospace, and because this is a font, a very specific font, always be sure to capitalize where needed. Which in the monospace, the way you spell it is with a capital M. So there we go. See, hello world in monospace. There it is in green. Boom. Checkmate. So now we want to prioritize one style specifically over another. So sometimes our HTML elements will receive multiple styles that conflict with each other, but obviously just like in math, there's an order of operations. So for example, our H1 element can't be both green and pink at the same time. So let's see what happens when we create a class that makes text pink, then apply it to the element. Will our class override the body's element of color green? So that's a good question. I actually don't know. So we want to create a class. So period. And we want to call it pink. Not pick. Pink dash text. And we'll open it. And we do that by doing color pink. Semicolon. Whoops. Semicolon. Okay, now in here, we'll give this the class identity equals pink text. Look at that. So it looks like our inline classification will override any general ones. So it seems like the body is kind of the backup. If otherwise specified, it becomes that, it seems. Let's see if we're right. A winner is you. So override style sheets in subsequent CSS. So our pink text class override our body element declaration. So we just proved that our classes will override the body element's CSS. So the next logical question is, what can we do to override the text, the pink text class? So we can create an additional CSS called blue text that gives an element the color blue. Make sure it's below our pink text classification. Okay, so we want to make sure it's below. So maybe it works top to bottom. So apply a blue text classification, which we are creating right now. Color, semicolon, blue, colon, or colon, semicolon. I keep saying those things backwards. So, in addition to our pink text, so blue text. Okay, so it looks like it takes less, so it's kind of like abrogation. So apply the blue text. Applying the multiple class attributes to an HTML element is done with a space like this. However, the order of the class declarations in the style section are what's important. So that means even if we put pink, let's try this. Put pink text before or after this time. Okay. So, because our blue text right here, however, the order of the class declarations in our style sheet are what's important. The second declaration, so the most recent declaration, will always take precedent over the first. That's quite interesting. Cool beans. Indeed, cool beans. Okay. So override class declarations by styling ID attributes. We just proved that browsers read CSS from top to bottom, which means that in the event of a conflict, the browser will use whichever CSS declaration came last. We're not done yet, though. There are other ways you can override CSS. Remember our ID attributes. Let's override our pink text and blue text classes and make our h1 element orange by giving the h1 element an ID and then styling that ID. So, give it an ID, orange dash text. Okay. And so we want to leave the blue text and class. Okay, so now we want to create a class declaration. It doesn't matter whether you declare CSS above or below. So we're going to go with above because it seems cooler. We're going to do brown. Oops. Create a CSS declaration for our orange text. And that's what it would look like. So orange dash text. We want to do color colon orange semicolon. Bam. Okay, so IDs seem like they take precedent over that. So we're out of sight. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, so override class declarations with inline styles. Now we've proven that ID declarations override class declarations, regardless of where they are in the style sheet. There are other ways we can override CSS. Do we remember inline style? Yes, of course we do. So that means in the line, we give a style of color green. Look at that. So an inline style will override the style sheet itself. Oh, we're missing something. Oh, which should be white. Here I am taking an example, not reading directions. So, there we go. To the nines! If you comment below what that means, then you're amazing. And who knows, maybe we'll give away something one day when we get a bunch of people. So comment below what to the nines mean. We'll see who's paying attention. Okay, so override all other styles by using important. What? Override all other styles by using important. Okay. A weird way to say it, but there must be a way. Okay, so yes, we just proved that inline styles will override all CSS declarations in our style element. But wait, there's more! Good old Ron Popeil. Ron Popeil. But wait, there's more. There's one last way to override CSS. And this is the most powerful method of all. But before we do it, let's talk about why you would ever want to override CSS. So in many situations, you will use CSS libraries. And these may accidentally override your own CSS. So when we absolutely need to be sure that an element has specific CSS, we can use exclamation point important. Let's go all the way back to our pink text class declaration. Remember that our pink text class was overridden by subsequent class and ID and inline declarations. So let's add the keyword important to our element's color declaration to make it 100% sure. Okay, so we put it after space exclamation point import. Wow, that's cool. Run the test, baby. We're on fire! Okay. So now use Hex Code for specific colors. Now Hex Code is the... do we know that there are other ways to represent colors in CSS? One of these is hexadecimal code, or Hex Code for short. We usually use decimals, or base 10 numbers, which means 0 through 9. For each digit. So hexadecimal or hex are base 16 numbers. Or this means it uses 16 distinct symbols, like decimals. The symbols 0 through 9 represents the values of 0 through 9. Then A, B, C, D, E, F represent values 10 to 15. Altogether, 0 to F can represent in a digit hexadecimal, giving us 16 total possible values. We can click here. Hexadecimal. Oh, it links us to the page. Okay. Links us to a Wikipedia. It'll help you explain more what hexadecimal is. For instance, for my particular logos and things, I use specific hexadecimal codes along with RGB colors of the exact official flag colors of the US. Now, in CSS, we can use 6 hexadecimal digits to represent colors. 2 of each for red and green. 2 of each. 2 for red, 2 for green, 2 for blue. Components. For example, hash 000000 is black and the lowest possible value, whereas hash FFFFFF is white. Now, we want to replace the word black in our body with the X symbol, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. There we go. Okay. To the nines. There it is again. Okay, so we want to use hex code to mix colors. So to review, hex code uses 6 hexadecimal digits to represent colors. 2 of each are red, green, and blue components, because these are the colors of light, red, green, and blue. So for these 3 pure colors, we can use varied amounts, create over 16 million other colors. For example, orange is pure red mixed with some green and no blue. So the hex code will be FF, which is max value of red, A5, which is some green, and no blue, which is 0. So the lowest digit is 0, and the highest digit is F. So we want to replace the color words in our style element with the correct hex code. So let's just copy and paste the Dodger blue, and we do that. We got green with that. We got orange, which is this one. And we got red, which is this one. Bam! Look at that right there. Yeah, now this orange is a little light. For some reason. I don't know why it's so dang light. But it might just be my monitor. I view orange as much darker, but maybe it's just because I think orange is naturally darker than it really is. Coding spree! We are on a spree. Another sip of our life juice. So many people feel overwhelmed by the possibilities of more than 16 million colors. Now, I don't find that overwhelming. I find that enjoyable. The openness and freedom of being able to have that many colors at your disposal should really honestly be celebrated. Now, it's definitely difficult to remember hex code. Fortunately, you can shorten it. For example, red's hex code, that can be shortened to O. So if you take out half, you're basically just taking out half of the hex code. That's interesting. I like that. So this reduces the possible colors to 4,000, but browsers will interpret this and this as the same exact color. So let's replace these. Cyan. By the way, an awesome name of an awesome character in Final Fantasy III that I love. Green, which is that. Red, which is this. And fuchsia. Now, I will say personally, I know very few hex codes for colors, because really, it's one thing you don't really need to try and stuff in your memory hole, because it's easily accessible. There are lots of sites and places where you can look up very specific color palettes, and they will give you the hexadecimal code for it or the RGB code for it. And, you know, you can use almost anything you want. It's really easy to look up these things, so you don't really need to bother yourself memorizing more than just a handful of what you'll definitely want to remember. Now, it's easy to remember why these colors are like that way, because you got RGB. So the first is red, the middle is green, and the last is the blue value. And this works in basically everything. Let's move on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Now we want to use these RGB values to color elements. So another way we can represent the CSS script is using RGB values. For RGB, the value, so you have RGB and then the code for it. Now personally, I use this a little bit more often, but it's only because I can find the exact colors much easier for me. But you know, it's easy to do it either way. Now, this, you know, obviously this is black, so RGB value of 0. And then this is the 255, which is the maximum RGB value. So instead of using hexadecimal digits, you can use hex code, or you can do with hex code. We can do it with RGB. Specifies the brightness of each color with a number between 0 and 255. So if you do the math, the 2 digits for one color equals 16 times 16, which gives us 256 values, which is 0 to 255. So RGB, which starts counting from 0, has the exact same number of possibilities as hex code. So let's replace the hex code in our body element with the RGB value. We do RGB, open parentheses, 0, comma, space 0, comma, space, row. There we go. Close parentheses. Bam. A winner is you. Okay, so we want to use RGB to mix colors. So for our blue, we're going to do this one, which is the max value of blue and 0 on everything else. We got red, the max value of red and 0 on everything else. We got orchid, which is like kind of a purple. We got right here. So it's a little bit of green, but mostly red and blue. Oops, extra 0 there. Yep, there you go, a purple. And then we got sienna, which is like a brownish, like a reddish brown kind of auburn color, which is a good amount of red, some green, and just a little blue. And that makes it brown. There it is. Bam. On to the next one. We're out of sight and out of mind. Now we want to use responsive design with Bootstrap fluid containers. Now, in HTML5 and CSS section of freeCodeCamp, we build a cat photo app. Now let's go back to it. So we're going back to the cat photo app, and it's time. We'll style it using a popular Bootstrap responsive CSS framework. Now, Bootstrap will figure out how wide our screen is and respond by resizing our HTML elements, hence the name responsive design. So if our screen is bigger, it'll be bigger, and then when it's smaller, it gets smaller. Now, with the responsive design, there's no need to design a mobile version of your website because it'll look good on devices with screens of any width. We can add Bootstrap to any app by adding the following code at the top of our HTML. That is really cool. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna copy this, put it at the top, boom, paste it. So it's just a general bootstrapping style sheet. That's cool. Oh, well, we would have to normally have the page, I guess. But in this case, we've already added it for you to this page behind the scenes. Oh. Okay. Well, we can just keep it up there anyways. So to get started, we should nest all of our HTML in a div element with the class container. So I guess we do it like this. So div, and then close div. And I guess and container fluid. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so everything changed over here. So we put all the HTML in a div, top to bottom, and gave it a class container fluid, and I'm sure it comes from this style sheet. Go ahead and delete this. Don't need it. They already gave it to us. Okay, there we go. Bam. Code long and prosper. There we go. Now let's move along here. Making images mobile responsive. So, first, add a new image below the existing one and set its source attribute as this. So this is the source. So, okay, below the image, so right here, we need another anchor thing. href equals... Oh, no, I don't need to do that. I just have to put an image. We just have to do an image. But we need the source, which is C equals quotation that. Oh, okay. And, let's see. It would be great if this image could be exactly the width of the phone screen. Fortunately, with Bootstrap, we do image responsive class to our image. So we just add this class, because they've already put it on the website. Image responsive. Bam, there it goes. Look at that. That is sweet. That is an adorable picture of cats. Holy moly. There we go. Boom. Your powers combined. I am a propaganda piece, apparently. Okay, so center text with Bootstrap. Now, we're using Bootstrap. We can center our heading element and make it look better. All we need to do is add the class text center to our h2 element. So, the heck? Okay, for some reason it won't let us click on this thing. There we go. That was weird, man. Okay, so we're adding multiple classes, so it'll be text center. There we go. Bam. We got it. That was very strange. Most triumphant. There's Bill and Ted right there. Excellent! So Bootstrap has its own styles for button element, which look much better than the plain HTML ones. We want to give a new button element to our large kitten photo. Give it the class BTN and the text of like. So we want a new button below the new image, which is right here. Here's the new image. We want to create a new button. So button, and then class, oops, equals BTN, and then close this. We put like. We close the button. Bam. There we go. Cool. I do like that button a little bit better. A little smoother. Bam. Pikachu chooses us. Now we want to create a block element Bootstrap button. Okay, so normally our button elements with the class of BTN are only as wide as the text that they contain. For example, the button, see, and submit button. Okay. This button would only be as wide as the word submit. Now, by making them block elements with the additional class, our button will stretch to fill your page's entire horizontal space, and any elements below it will flow into a new line below the block. Okay, so like this. I kind of like that. That's cool. So let's go ahead and add that class as well. Add the Bootstrap's button block class to our Bootstrap button. Okay. So inside class space btn block. Oops. Oops. What the heck is up with this? Okay, make sure you're in the thing. btn block. There we go. There we go. Like along the whole thing. Okay. Moving right along here. To infinity and beyond. Taste the Bootstrap button color rainbow. So it's trying to tell us to eat some Skittles. Kind of want some Skittles now. Now, the button primary class, the main color we'll use on our app. It's useful for highlighting actions we want our users to take. A call to action, per se. Now we want to add the Bootstrap's button primary class to our button as well. We're going to add a third one. That is so weird. Okay, button primary. There it is. Now it's blue. Okay. Bam. Our powers combined. We are learning to code. Now, call out optional actions with button info. So Bootstrap comes with several predefined colors for the buttons. Button info class is used to call attention to optional actions that the user can take. Now create a new block level Bootstrap button below like with the text info in it. Okay. So button class equals, we want the same thing. So button block. At this time it'll have and then this time it'll have btn info instead of primary. Let's close this, put info, and then close the button. There we go. Oh, okay. So we got a dark blue and a light blue. Coming along, flawless victory. So now, warn your users of dangerous actions. So, Bootstrap comes with several predefined colors for buttons. The button danger class is a button color you'll use to notify users that the button performs a destructive action, such as deleting the photo. So we want to create a delete button and give it the class button danger. But it still needs this other stuff. So we're going to copy this and paste it. And instead of button info, I'm going to put button danger. Still needs everything else. And we put the elite. There we go. There it is. Now we got a delete button, which is red for obvious reasons, because we're walking on sunshine. Now use the Bootstrap Grid to put elements side by side. Okay, so Bootstrap uses a responsive grid system, which makes it easy to put elements into rows and specify each element's relative width. Most Bootstrap classes can be applied to a div element. Here's a diagram of how Bootstrap's 12-column grid layout works. Let's make this bigger so we can see it here. So using a single set of class, whole, mid grid classes, we can create a basic grid system. Starts out stacked on mobile devices and tablet devices, the extra small, just small range, before becoming horizontal on medium devices. So place grid columns in any row. Okay. Kind of like that. Oh, I see. So we can give it a values. So this button is 1 width. This one is 8 widths. This one is 4. You have 3 4s, 2 6s, and have 4 3s if we wanted to. Like. Or maybe not. Maybe we can only have these. Okay. So place grid columns in any row. And row just means this is a row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Okay. So note that in the illustration, the column dash MD dash whatever class is being used here. The MD means medium, and the asterisk is a number specifying how many columns wide the width should be. Oh, so we can use any columns wide. So, in case the column width of an element on a medium-sized screen, such as laptop, is being specified. So in the cat photo app, we're building, we'll use columns extra small, whereas XS means extra small, like an extra small mobile screen. And the column is the number of, or the asterisk is the number of columns specifying how many columns wide the element should be. We want to put the like, info, and delete buttons side by side in a row, nesting all 3 of them within a div, within one div class row class element, then each of them within a div class extra small 4 element. So the row class is specified to a div, and the buttons themselves will be nested within it. Okay, so that means above the buttons, we need a special div with the class equaling row. Okay, so it's asking us to put all of the buttons in one row. So now let's close this div, and then each of the buttons individually in a div with the class all dash XS dash 4, because that's how wide we want it. And then we close this div like so. So let's go ahead and close these properly real fast. Oops. And then we can copy this, put this at the beginning of every div. There we go. Bam. So now we have them all in one row, small enough to be in. So now the row class is applied to a div, and the buttons themselves are nested within that. Okay. Bam. Flawless victory. On to the next one. So we're already at 68. We're cranking through this. This is good. So ditch custom CSS for Bootstrap. So we can clean up our code, make our photo app look more conventional by using Bootstrap's built-in styles instead of custom CS styles we created earlier. Don't worry, there will be plenty of time to customize our CSS later. We want to delete all the styles, it seems. So delete thick green border. Okay, so let's do this by order. So delete red text. Gone. Oops. There we go. Delete P. Gone. Delete smaller image. Gone. Wait a second. Did I delete some stuff? Whoa. There we go. Redo. Okay. So Yeah, so red text. Gone. Nope, what the heck? There we go. Red text. Gone. We have P. Gone. Thick green border. Oh, no. Smaller image. Gone. So the only thing left in our style elements are H2 and thick green border. So then delete the P element that contains a dead link. So oh, god dang it. For some reason it's weird. So we're gonna delete that. Now we're gonna remove the red text class from our H2 element, because that's gone. And replace it with text primary. So text dash primary. Nope. I guess primary is the blue. Okay. Now finally remove the smaller image class from our first image element. And replace it with image responsive. Oh, okay, so it makes it as wide as that. Bam. We're a shooting star. Okay. So we can use spans for inline elements. So you can use spans to create inline elements. Remember when you used button block class to make the button fill the entire row? Yes, this image illustrates the difference between inline elements and block level elements. So this is an inline element. This is the block line element. Okay. So by using the span element, we can put several elements together and even style different parts of the same element differently. So next, the word love in our things cats love elements with a span element. Things cats love. So the word love span, and give the class text danger. Close the span. Oh, it wants us to put a colon in it as well. So let's check this. Oh, it's a little red. You can barely see it, but it is red. I promise it's red. That is cool. We're out of sight, out of mind. Okay, so we'll make a simple heading for our cat photo app by putting the title and relaxing cat image in the same row. So remember, Bootstrap uses a responsive grid system, which make it easy to put elements into rows and specify each element's relative width. Most Bootstrap classes can be applied to a div element. Here's the Bootstrap thing. Okay, so note, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so in the cat photo app that we're building, we'll use call extra small, where extra small means S and the number means... Okay, so we want to nest our first image and our H2 element within a single div class of row. So that means, oh, like this. Okay, so dang it. Load the page real fast. Okay, so we want to insert, we want to put our H2 element inside of another div with the class of row. We want our first, what is it, the first image, so a single row, first image and the H2, yeah. So this one. So after this, we will close this particular div, like so. And then nest our H2 element within a div class by itself. So div class call dash extra small dash, and it says 8. We want it to be 8 extra smalls wide. Close. Oops. Close. And put it at the end of that in particular. Okay. And then we want the image in its own div class of class of call dash extra small dash 4. Okay, and then after that, close that div. There we go. Okay, so we got this cat photo app and then the little pic. There we go. So notice the image is now just the right side fit along the text. That is cool. That's cool. Ranked it up to 11. Ooh, a Spinal Tap reference. That's what I'm talking about. I love me some Spinal Tap. So now we want to add Font Awesome icons to our buttons. So Font Awesome is a convenient library of icons. These icons are vector graphics stored in the SVG file format. These icons are treated just like fonts. You can specify their size using pixels, and they will assume the font size of their parent HTML elements. We can add the Font Awesome by adding the following code to the top of our HTML. Awesome. In this case, we've already added it. Yep, it's already in the page. So in this case, we've already added the I element. Was originally used to make other elements italic, is now commonly used for icons. You can add the Font Awesome classes to the I element, turn it into an icon. For example, I class, then the fa info circle. So use the Font Awesome to add thumbs up to your button, giving an I element to with the classes fa and fa thumbs up. Okay. So so we want to go down to our button, our like button. Right in here. Like button. So we want to put I class. Oops. We're a doofus. And give the button the I class. We want it to be an icon, the button itself. So fa and fa dash thumbs dash up. Then close the eye. I don't think I did that right. Okay, so we want our fa thumbs up icon should be located within the like button. Okay, so we were half close. We want it to be around the word like. Cut and paste this info. Bam. There we go. Okay. We want to nest our I element within the like button. There we go. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. So Font Awesome is a convenient library of icons. These icons are vector graphics stored in the SVG format. So we want to use Font Awesome to add an info circle icon to our button and to our info button. So the info circle is the I, the lowercase I with the circle, which we commonly see everywhere, and then the button trash. That's cool. Okay, so we got the info. So I class. We want to put info dash circle, close, and then close the I. Boom. Did I misspell that? Oh, jeez, I'm crow. For some reason it didn't go after. There we go. Oh. Looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so fa. Oh, idiot. We gotta put fa and dash info circle. There we go. Same thing with this. So right here we put I class equals. So fa always goes ahead, I guess. A fa, then fa dash trash. Close. Then afterwards, delete. Oh, no. Then we close the I. There we go. Oh, look at that. We got a little trash can symbol, the I with the circle, and the like button. Awesome. Okay, we're moving along. Boom, shakalaka. Okay, now responsive style radio buttons. Now this will be our last one for today. We'll stop at 73, so we'll continue at 74 tomorrow. We can use Bootstrap, the call extra small on forms elements too. This way our radio buttons will be evenly spread out across the page regardless of how wide the screen resolution is. Excuse me. We want to nest all of our radio buttons in the same row. So we do like this. We'll put a div class row, and what this is doing is we're putting a div around the radio buttons specifically first. There's not dive. What am I doing? There we go. Okay, so these are the radio buttons. Now all the radio buttons should be in the same row. Yep. There we go. And then each of the individual buttons will be given a value as well. So div class call extra small, and they want us to use 6. So fastest way to do this is copy and pasting if you're doing the same thing, and then at the end of the line, div. I don't like it when it breaks it on a new line like that. I like my div closings to be in the same kind of space. There we go. So see, this indent is matched up with this indent, which is that's a div, and then these divs are matched up with themselves. So there we go. Look at that. Bam. So no matter how wide it'll be, they'll have their own on the same row within the same side. And booyah. Nothing but that. So we'll start tomorrow by adding the same things, the responsivity. It'll be a good spot to re-up on where we were today, because we're doing the same thing as what we did last. to these check boxes. I want to thank you guys for listening and watching today, and hopefully you're following along with me. We're going to be doing this every single day that we stream normally. We're going to be doing this in the morning or in the afternoon. I don't know if I can have a set time yet because of my before stream schedule is a little wonky. But these will all be uploaded to YouTube so you can watch them anytime. And if you do take the time to add a comment where it breaks down and links to the video and each step, I will pin every single one of those posts, whoever does that. I wish I could do that if I had that kind of time. I just don't, unfortunately, at this particular moment, but maybe later on we will. But I want to thank you again so much for watching today. I am Nashi, the Conservative Gamer, and I'm learning coding with you guys. And we're gonna be coding random stuff. Maybe we'll code a bunch of stuff together in the future, make some great games, great apps. Who knows? That's the best part with coding. Coding is fun. I'm hooked already, and it's only been 2 days, and I'm hooked. I'm hooked. So I hope you're hooked too. If you continue on, don't worry. We'll be continuing in the future too, and you can maybe we'll catch up with you. So have a great one. This is Nashi. Peace out.